The season heat rushes are upon us, and you know what that means. School's out, and the smell of delicious barbecue wafts through the air during these merry times. In the case of Kirby, he doesn't actually go to school, so he looks forward to having as many picnics as he can, and stuff as many foods as he can in his bottomless stomach. But the problem is, he is feeling a bit indecisive, and needs our help to determine what is the best spot in every Kirby 64 level to set up a picnic. He's a growing boy and needs all the nutrients he can muster up, even if it pretty much means eating the entire world's food supply. So with that being said, let's get our knife and forks ready and help Kirby dig in. Starting with the famous planet Popstar, aka the home of Kirby, this place is home to an abundance of rich and plentiful of natural resources that are sure to provide sustenance for all residents for generations to come. Complete with lush greenery accompanied by a pleasant spring breeze, how can anyone not feel like having a picnic here with your friends and taking the scenery? Well, if it weren't for the infestation of monsters on the planet itself, I feel like more citizens will be frolicking on these plains by now. But after much consideration, I've decided that the first stage of Popstar is the most ideal place for a picnic compared to the others. My reasoning is that the first stage is as pleasant as a typical Kirby stage can get. Mild weather with clouds minding their own business, an unassuming stream of water getting from point A to point B, and a mysterious log cabin that has been abandoned and overrun by a giant monster. I wonder who built this in the first place. I've always liked the random checkered blocks just casually sitting in arbitrary locations in the stage itself. It's fitting given the universe we're currently playing in. I'm confident many others will agree that this place is perfect for munching on your favorite foods, compared to the quiet forest and DDD's castle, as they are either dangerous or spooky, unless you're into that. Next up is Rockstar, the second level. This is an interesting location because it was once home to an ancient civilization that brought forth their own demise due to some sort of unknown destructive force that greatly damaged the planet to the point where the remaining living organisms took shelter on the ground rather than on the surface. The gravity is constantly shifting at an unstable rate, and that may be due to the discovery of an alien spaceship hidden within the desert of the planet. After careful assessment, I had determined that the best spot for a picnic out of all the levels in Rockstar would have to be in the second stage. My reasoning is that the first stage takes place completely in the desert, and is filled with all sorts of treacherous enemies and monsters. I mean, they all are, but this is worse because of the harsh weather conditions. If you were Kirby, would you really want to have sand in your sandwich? Well, he probably wouldn't care since he eats anything, but I wouldn't. The third stage isn't any better because it takes place completely on the ground, and is just as sandy with even more weird, unsightly monsters. The fourth takes place inside an advanced alien spaceship, and imagine your food would be cold and hard very quickly inside of that place, so I wouldn't even bother. The second stage is the closest to resembling Popstar because it is the only one that doesn't take place in sandy areas and actually has signs of life and greenery. Just be mindful of the toppling pillars who are aware of people passing by somehow. These abandoned ruins are pretty much quiet as well, so introverts rejoice. Although it makes me wonder what exactly happened to the people who once lived here, and what caused this disaster in the first place. Up next is Aquastar. This is pretty much the polar opposite of Rockstar, and since the summer season is just around the corner, it is the perfect time to eat some delicious food. The problem is trying to determine which stage is the most suitable among all the sandy beaches, tropical islands, and underwater caverns. After some consideration, I decided that stage 3, featuring the scorching hot sandy beach under the blazing hot sun, is the definition of being the perfect picnic spot. Filled to the brim with all sorts of sand sculptures, festering enemies, and refreshing seawater, how can anyone turn out a day at the beach with a couple of friends? Just be mindful of that weird thing that hiding under the sand with giant choppers. In terms of aesthetic, this has always been one of my favorite stages to play in, and makes me wish I was there to soak in the rays and whatnot. Then I realized beaches exist and could simply go to one anytime. Next is Neostar. This is a planet that is bound to satisfy any adrenaline junkie's desire for adventure and chaos, as it is scattered with volcanoes, perilous wildlife, and treacherous jungles. It seems that the entire planet is completely untouched by the influence of civilization, and is completely conquered by nature. It is with these reasons that trying to find the best spot to eat food on this planet proves to be challenging. But I have decided that stage 3 on the mountains is the best possible spot, compared to the jungles, underground minecart areas, and literal volcano. I would think sitting on top of some mountains would be the least dangerous. People did it as a hobby after all, so it won't be a problem for Kirby and friends. I like the multicolored rocks here and that is shrouded in a white misty fog. Other than the way the stage is decorated, there really isn't much to say about this place, but the part where you have to copy the image of Adeline's canvas using the blocks was always sort of tedious to do, and it still is. Next is Shiverstar, the designated Christmas level of the game. It is also widely speculated that this planet is heavily implied to be the old version of Earth, where it has been long abandoned, and has since taken over by robots, machines, and dangerous cybernetic forces. The giant mall stage and factory are signs that this planet was once inhabited by organic lifeforms. As for picking the best spot for a picnic, I think the food will be long cold by now and as hard as a rock, but the most obvious choice is stage 3 instead of the giant mall. This is the only place that takes place inside of a shelter and not surrounded by icy temperatures and killer robots. If you're lucky, you can find a couple of stores that still has food supplies inside and have been left behind so you can add more to your picnic or microwave the frozen pieces. Needless to say, I think this takes the cake for being the most comfy spot, even if it is overrun by enemies, but they can be taken care of pretty easily. The final level is Ripple Star. This once peaceful planet has been overrun by an ominous dark force known as dark matter, and is the driving force behind all the evil throughout the game. This place has always given me the creeps as a kid because of its many ominous and unsettling atmosphere and strange innocuous settings that has a looming sense of doom wherever you go. Very off-putting even for Kirby standards. As for choosing the best spot to eat, I had trouble deciding between stage 1 and 3, and went with the first one, which is strikingly similar to Popstar's first stage with the planes. Ripplestar's castle is a bit too creepy to enjoy a nice lunch, and will constantly have you looking over your shoulder to ensure nothing sneaks up on you. The first stage of Ripplestar looks like everything's made out of candy and is super colorful. It seems that the dark influence of dark matter has not made its way onto these peaceful terrains. I'm sure it smells so pleasant here and will increase your appetite to eat it even more. I like how the first stage of the final level is a recreation of the first stage from the first level. A fitting callback, I might say. Although I feel like something may pop out of nowhere to interrupt your meal concerning this planet is still overrun by a dark entity after all. Still, if I had the choice, I would rather eat on the sandy beach on Aqua Star. Well, that does it for all the levels in Kirby 64. Let's hope Kirby is finally satisfied with his picking the locations. With all that being said, thank you for watching. Which level do you think is the best spot to eat? And please like and subscribe for more videos like these if you want to.